How's it going, everybody? I'm the B2C Reaper, and my goal on this channel is to teach you how to reap the rewards of trading whether price is going up or down. UBS considers acquiring Credit Suisse, requests government backstop and deal. UBS Group AG is in discussions to acquire all or parts of the banking giant Credit Suisse Group AG. Sources familiar with the talks say that Swiss Financial Market Supervisor Authority, or FINMA, and the Swiss National Bank are involved in the discussions. On Thursday, Credit Suisse announced it was borrowing 50 billion francs from the National Swiss Bank to bolster its liquidity. According to sources familiar with the matter who requested anonymity, UBS is interested in Credit Suisse's wealth and asset management units, but the bank wants a government-backed brokered deal that includes a backstop. Besides UBS, the report notes that there were multiple other interested rivals in this deal aside from UBS, so if that UBS deal does not go through, it's likely we could see some other group pick it up. Crypto wallet prototype discovered inside Microsoft Edge browser. According to screenshots shared by algo, a pseudonymous software researcher from Central Europe, Microsoft has added code that integrates a non-custodial crypto wallet into the company's default Edge browser. That's good because that means Microsoft won't have control of your assets and you wouldn't want them to. So here's some screenshots that show like interfaces and what you can do. The screenshots depict a user interface for a crypto wallet, a decentralized application explorer, a newsfeed, and the ability to buy crypto through Coinbase and MoonPay. The enhancement is already baked into recent releases of the Edge browser, but is hidden and not accessible to users. Algo cautions that Microsoft builds and tests a lot of things that never see the light of day. Considering I was able to use it just fine, I'd imagine that a rollout is not out of question. And algo believes that Microsoft's foray into crypto wallets may be an attempt to offer a similar product to Opera's closest rival, Brave browser. And when they were reached out for comment, they said, at Microsoft we regularly test new features to explore new experiences for our customers. A Microsoft spokesperson said in an email response, "We look forward to learning and collecting feedback from customers, but have nothing further to share at this time." So, Microsoft may roll out a non-custodial wallet. That'd be pretty good for adoption. Although it is on the Edge browser, and the Edge browser's the first thing I remove from my computer, so that may not help much. Crypto flourishes in Vietnam with 16.6 million holders report. So Vietnam is the number one digital leader for crypto adoption right now. The Vietnam Market Report 2022 revealed that 16.6 million Vietnamese people own digital currencies, with Bitcoin being the most popular. It says that approximately 17% of the country's population owns crypto, and about a third, 31%, invest in Bitcoin, making it the most preferred asset. So like 1 out of 3 people that invest in crypto invest in Bitcoin, and about one out of every 6 people invest in crypto. So that's a pretty frequent, I think it's like 1 out of every 10 in the US, we'll get to that. The research determined that Thailand was the only country with more hodlers than Vietnam in the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, or ASEAN. I think that's how you say that. Vietnamese have founded 7 of the top 200 blockchain organizations globally, with Axie Infinity, Coin98, and Kyber Network being some examples of those. So Vietnam has been responsible for some of the most popular projects. The Philippines is another country that was second, and Ukraine was third for adoption in global. This is globally. So Philippines is number 2 globally, and Ukraine is third. In the top 20, there's also Nigeria and Indonesia, as well as Argentina, Brazil, and Turkey. And as far as super economies, the United States was shockingly number 5, and the UK is number 7. So the US, who really wants to hit everyone that invests in crypto really hard, is actually one of the biggest investors in crypto. Would you imagine that? Not like they're trying to pump it down so they can get a bag. Ooh, we are breaking this flag that we had. We had a descending triangle on the lower time frames, so we'll have to get into that. But we're going to start from the daily. Our momentum wave is starting to curl. Money flow is kind of stagnant. VWAP's kind of stagnant, but heading slightly down. So the daily's not looking the strongest. Stochastic's pretty flat, can't really go anywhere. Our RSI is pointing down with a red dot that could print soon. The 4-hour, we have bearish divergences that I pointed out yesterday that highlighted. Stochastic's coming down, RSI is coming down, and our VWAP's starting to come down. Our money flow is well into the green here. So the overall trend is bullish, even though we're getting a little bit of a retracement here. Over on the 2-hour, our money flow is coming down pretty aggressively. RSI is pointing down pretty aggressively, and our stochastic is pretty oversold right now, so the RSI has like no strength. Money flow is well into the green, has been slightly going down the last couple candles. VWAP is heading down. It tried to cross up but got rejected. So we are falling out of this pattern. You can see a little better on the 2-hour. We have some wicks and some bodies for a descending triangle. We did have a bull flag, but it looks like we're breaking down out of the descending triangle instead. We did have a breakdown before that took the whole breakdown. So we could kind of bounce off here, make somewhat of a double bottom. Maybe we'll get a candle close here to fill that wick and then a bounce. We'll have to see if the money flow comes in. 1 hour, money flow staying in the green. So we're staying in the bullish trend even though we're getting a little bit of a cool off. We could possibly drag this down, but we're going to have to see how we bounce around from here, because if we make some support here and keep having resistance here, we may just have a bigger flag that we could zoom out from, and this could be our pole. We'll have to kind of see how we have to adjust tomorrow. But our momentum's coming down on the 1 hour. VWAP is trying to head up. Money flow's maintaining. Stochastic's heading down, and RSI is heading down. So the 1 hour we're getting a bit of a cool off, but the current candle we are trying to pump up. If we can create some sort of bullish engulfing candle, that would be a positive, as it could make like a tweezer bottoms here, and we could propel forward with this bull flag if we get back into it. Over on graph, we do have, I don't like that 1 hour. We'll get into the 1 hour though. So, over on the daily, we have a spinning top candle forming long upper shadow. The body is about twice as big, the wick's about twice as big as the body. So it's a long upper shadow. That could be a bearish signal as buyers tried to come up but got smashed down. Stochastic's running up, but RSI is falling. VWAP's falling, momentum's coming up, and money flow's coming up. So some conflicting signals here. It's all going to be pretty dependent on Bitcoin. We did take a pretty good drop here, but we did also gain pretty good against Bitcoin and other coins. Our momentum has that divergence. It hasn't highlighted yet. RSI's heading down, Stochastic's heading down, money flow's still green. VWAP's trying to make a curl. So short term, we could try to make a recovery here, provided the lower time frames make recoveries as well. We have a red X that is bringing us down currently, so we may fill this wick kind of like Bitcoin. That would be the hope, is we get some sort of bounce off support. We did bounce a few times, so we did solidify the support. However, if we bounce and break through, that could be a bearish sign, as every time you hit support or resistance, they get weaker. Money flow is coming out with Stochastic pointing down. RSI is heading down. We had a bearish divergence on our Stochastic that brought it down. So the 2 hours looking kind of bearish, but I'm hoping we could get some sort of a short-term correction because of a gap we have on the CME, and I'll get into that. And this time I won't forget like I did last night. RSI is heading down. Stochastic's heading down on the 1 hour. Money flow is trying to come out. We'll have to look for a bounce here in the next few hours. VWAP's trying to head up and momentum is coming down, but it looks like it could start to curl if we do manage to get some momentum upwards. So over on Anchor, Oh, and graph, the reason I didn't like this 1 hour is we have a shoulder, a head, and a shoulder, which could bring us down. Ooh, a little crooked there. Could bring us down to test that support area. So I'd be a little cautionary of that. Over on Anchor, on the daily, we're getting a little bit of a down push. We have a not quite a long lower shadow candle as the wick's about as big as the body. We have a reversal arrow showing, so that could indicate a move down. We did come back into our volume profile and bounce off the point of control for this volume range for this shorter trend. For the longer trend, we still have a way to go before we hit the point of control. Our momentum's trying to come up, but it's got a pretty weak peak. Money flow's coming up, but VWAP's dropping, stochastic's curling, and RSI's pointing down. So overall, the daily's looking kind of bearish, but we could make a bounce off this point of control, which is also a support level. So I'd look for that bounce. If that bounce doesn't happen, then we could see some more downside to the point of control down here, which would be a pretty good drop. But that'd be a good place to accumulate if you are into this project. Stochastic, RSI, momentum, we're just flashing all kinds of bearish divergences here on the 4 hour. Momentum's coming down, stochastic speed up, our RSI is kind of holding its ground. VWAP's trying to come up, momentum's staying bullish. So looking pretty decent. We did get this cool off. However, that's to be expected when you get big run-ups. It's all gonna matter if we can sustain or if we break support. Stochastic is trying to curl up, so that is a positive sign that we could get some strength on the RSI on the 2 hour. Our VWAP's trying to get close to that neutral zone and break, and our money flow is holding its ground in the neutral, or the bullish zone, sorry. Our momentum looks like it wants to make a curl here. So if we get some more momentum going and some more money flow in, we could possibly break up above this channel and possibly start trading in this range here. But that'll all most likely depend on if Bitcoin can gain as well, because remember, Bitcoin drives the market. Money flow's coming down on the 1 hour, VWAP's coming down in the bearish zone. We have a red dot momentum that could confirm. RSI is trying to head up, our stochastic's heading down though. So RSI is losing strength, and we have a red dot that could bring us down. That VWAP short term is breaking bearish, and that money flow is pretty close to breaking bearish. So I'd be a little cautionary, but that seems to be the trend for tonight. Over on XRP for the daily, we are coming down after getting a decent pump from yesterday. We did reject this resistance after trying to get through it. So we have a long upper shadow candle here as well. Stochastic and RSI are looking like they're about to drop. Momentum is trying to come up, but it looks like it's about to curl. Money flow is starting to come out. And our VWAP looks like it's about to curl as well. So the daily's not looking too bullish. Stochastic, RSI, and the momentum are falling, as well as VWAP, and money flow is failing to stay bullish. It jumped up and fell, jumped up and fell. So not the strongest sight here. We did get rejected by resistance as well. Stochastic's heading down and RSI's heading down on the 2 hour. Our momentum's heading down, but it looks like it could try to curl here. Money flow staying in the bullish zone on the 2 hour for the last few candles. So that is positive, but this VWAP needs to turn course because it's starting to head down. Over on the 1 hour, our momentum's pretty beat up. VWAP's making a higher high, even though price is making lower lows, so we have a divergence on there for a bullish divergence. Money flow is overall heading down, but is trying to make a bit of a recovery. Stochastic's pretty beat up, RSI's heading down, so overall I think XRP is pretty bearish as well. Algo, it looks like people took quite a bit of profits. I'd say XRP and Bitcoin probably held out the best for today. Money flow we are almost getting a bearish engulfing candle that could confirm. Stochastic's trying to run up, our RSI is losing strength. Money flow's like nowhere to be found. VWAP's trying to head up. Momentum's heading up, so kind of conflicting signals with the stochastic and RSI. If this money flow can manage to sustain and get some more ground, that'd be bullish. I'm not too confident with it hanging around that neutral zone. And the 4-hour money flow is coming up. VWAP's trying to curl. Stochastic and RSI are falling though. We had a bearish divergence on our momentum and that's falling. So the 4-hour we are getting a bit of a retracement here. I don't know why our volume profile didn't carry. We did bounce off this value area low, so that is a positive sign. So we could make a run up to this point of control. At that point, we could meet resistance. So I'd watch for that. Ooh. Over on the 2-hour, stochastic's heading down, RSI's heading down pretty strongly. Money flow's coming out pretty aggressively, and our VWAP's kind of curling pretty aggressive, so the 2-hour is looking pretty bearish. 1-hour momentum's coming down pretty strong. VWAP rejected crossing bullish, and our stochastic is just bouncing around the oversold area. RSI is crashing down pretty strong as well. We did have a manipulation X, so it's likely we could get a little bit of a bounce. If you see, we'll get like a manipulation X, a correction, and then some bit of a retracement back up. So we could see that where we get a little bit of a retracement and maybe head toward resistance. But again, that'll be dependent on if Bitcoin can gain. So now for everything, what you've been waiting for, the futures. We have this gap here, and we have a gap above us, and we have a gap below us. This gap above us is for around 28K. If we go back, it's from when we first broke down during this bear market into this range. We have a big gap here. All gaps tend to fill. We have a big jump where price just went from one day here to all the way here. So that's what a gap is. We have a similar gap here over when we started this run up that we're currently in. That was created when we went to fill the previous CME gap that brought us down to this area. So by filling this gap and running up so quickly, we have created another gap. So the likely scenario I'd see is we run up, fill this gap, somewhere in this area around 28.3, and then it's likely we could drop down from that area and fill this gap at a later point. People are going to say you need bearish news, but I tend to believe that the charts indicate the news before the news happens. Sometimes you'll get surprise news, but usually the charts will kind of tell you something's brewing. Thank you for watching tonight's video. I hope you have a great night.